feeling the weight of the world? Remember, you are one, and one action can change everything. Welcome to the Be the One podcast with your host, Nancy Matthews, where we inspire you to make a big impact. One moment, one action, one person at a time.
Welcome, everyone, to this next episode of Be the One TV, where I have the privilege of introducing you to some extraordinary human beings being the one making the world a better place. Today, I have the privilege of introducing you to Debra Reis, known as the Empowered Nurse Advocate. And she's here today to speak to her mission and her vision for transforming the healthcare industry from sick care to true healthcare. Deb is a delightful human. You're going to love the conversation that we get to have. And she brings us more than 35 years of experience in nursing and healthcare, 25 years in holistic nursing and healthcare. And she is an advocate for every single person taking care of themselves, and especially our healthcare workers taking care of themselves so that they can take care of others. Welcome, Debra Reis.
Thank you, Nancy. Pleasure to be here.
I am so honored to have you as part of my world, and as I see the work that you're doing, it is so vital. And I'm going to rewind for a second because we all know here in the United States in particular and around the world, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, I saw that as the first time we actually shed light on our healthcare professionals being overworked, burnt out. Like, this has been going on for a long time.
Yes.
And finally, a light got put on it, right?
Agree. You're right.
Yeah. And your mission as the Empowered Nurse Advocate, you've been doing it for over 10 years, maybe decades. How did your experience in nursing bring about this passion?
Well, it really started out as my own experience when I was at the bedside. Primarily, I was critical care, so in the ICU, very fast paced. And as a young nurse, that's really was exciting to me. But what I found out is that I really started to see a pattern of really being focused on the pharmaceutical and putting pieces back together, so to speak, but and really losing the whole aspect of what was happening with the patient. And I started to feel that in myself, that I was just really, what am I doing? I started questioning that. And I started to have, the experiences of what we would call burnout, not realizing that was happening, but, starting to, have nightmares about, what was going on in the clinical world and just did I do everything right and all of that. And I was really I could find myself really getting into an imbalanced place. And I asked for help. I reached out and said, I gotta look at something different. And that's when I became acquainted with this holistic strategies that really were very new in my world. I had no idea these were here. And I started to explore them for my own health and well-being and keeping myself in that place of balance. And that led to this whole journey of being the empowered nurse advocate.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this term holistic, right?
Okay.
So holistic strategies. I know you have a specific program called ISTEP, which is Integrative Supportive Therapies.
Engagement program, right?
Engagement program, right? So there's a lot of
Yeah.
terms being thrown around.
Yes.
What does it really mean in terms of the processes and strategies you found and that you now share with other nurses and individuals worldwide?
Right. Yes, our traditional healthcare model, especially in the Western world, is more, I would say, more mechanical. It's like what's broken, let's fix it, or let's replace it. And we really are, and it's very fast, so we're really kind of just focused in that area. And
Can I comment on that?
yeah.
Because it's really interesting that what's broken is the
Mhm.
key to get something, start fixing something.
Yeah.
Like, how do we do maintenance so that things don't have to break is part of it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what the holistic piece is. It's like, let's not just look at what's broken, but how is this affecting the whole? And what do we need to do to keep this whole person, this whole being, because it's not just this physical body, we're emotional, we're spiritual beings. How do we need to connect all of that together and avoid this breaking down
Yeah.
effect and keeping things in that maintenance and well-being?
And when I think about the healthcare industry, bedside nurses and doctors, their billing is what matters, right? How fast can
Absolutely.
you see the patient? What's wrong with it? Do the diagnosis next, next, next. And is it, you're there? Is it because of this focus on billing and profits? Did it lead to creating no space for this holistic approach?
I believe it did. And just when you mentioned about being broken, our system is broken.
Mhm.
And really looking at it, it is kind of viewed as pieces and parts, like billing for this, billing for that, what's this? And even in the healthcare system, looking at the whole organization, we don't look at it as a living, breathing being, which it is. We have
Yeah.
individual people, but we are a living, breathing entity. And again, this is where I think the holistic approach can help in that balance, bringing that balance and actually, well, that's why I call it integrative. It's not necessarily losing those good pieces. There are good pieces to our traditional medicine. There are good concepts. So it's not losing that, but how can we make it better? How can we enhance it? And I believe
Mhm.
the holistic, the integrative approach of bringing in those mind, body, spirit elements into this traditional kind of healing really works. We've done it. We know it works.
Yeah, I mean, and there are, so Deb is one of the featured authors. I didn't mention this
Yeah.
before, inside of our anthology, Being the One. So be sure to grab your book and read her chapter called Restoring the Heart of Healthcare, From
Mhm.
Burnout to Bold Leadership. And, her work in bringing these holistic integrative therapies into healthcare is for the nurses and the doctors and all of the staff to
Right.
help them perform better. And then they can share these types of practices with the patients, which help the patients heal better.
That's absolutely true. And the other piece of that we look at is once you learn that tool, now let's apply it in a short period of time. My
Mm,
my dialogue is 5 minutes or less, and oftentimes it takes a minute to get yourself back into balance or to help another person come to a place of balance and focus. And it does happen. It does work. And so because that's what I would often hear about applying some of, like guided imagery or energy therapy. People would be really embracing it. They loved it. But that would be the comment back. I have no time to do this in my practice. I'm way too busy, or I got to get all my charting done and I have to do this and that and that. Again, that piecing piece. And I don't have time to really put this into my practice. So one of my roles is, yes, you do. Let's look at the tool now. How do we integrate it into our being so that we are able to apply it quickly?
yeah. And I know you are skilled at this. And the thought that came through when we were talking about, I don't have time, I'm so busy.
Hmm.
And I know the techniques, and maybe we'll dive into one or two of them today because
Right.
I get stressed. I could use some calm.
Yeah.
Uh, but here's what came to mind. As our nurses or healthcare or physicians assistants, whoever's in that medical environment with us,
Hmm.
if I was in the hospital about to have surgery or some procedure or
Right.
diagnostic testing or whatever it is, I, the patient, am feeling pretty anxious probably.
Yes. Right.
These the staff knowing these techniques, just take some breath, just some breathing, bringing in
Yes.
mindfulness or essential oils or
Hmm.
gentle movement. I know those are you have
My
three
three pillars.
pillars. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
how beautiful that would change my experience as a
Yes.
patient. And
Absolutely.
now when I have a choice of where I want to go for my procedures in the future, I'm going to remember the experience I had at this hospital versus that one, or this
Exactly.
doctor's office versus this one.
Right.
So if we're talking about bottom lines,
Hmm.
this will help your bottom line.
Yes. Yes. And it really is speaking that language. So many practitioners, I think, we do focus on that, taking care of that person or that group, like nurses. But when we
Mhm.
are talking with organizations, we really do. We have to talk a different language, and that's the bold leadership. So really going into those those leaders, and how is this going to help not only yourself, but your team? How can we bring greater empowerment, greater team resilience, and cohesiveness? That's so important if you're looking at retaining and keeping people in a place of balance as a team.
Yeah. And I want to speak to this for a moment because I know, one of the things you do is go into healthcare organizations and bring in these
Hmm.
team building type of
Yes.
activities. And what my perception is, team building is let's go bowling or let's go out to dinner,
Right?
which is great. I'm not saying don't do
It
that.
is. It is.
And how about we give our team and our health our organizations something tangible with a ripple effect for
Mhm.
them to continuously use for themselves as well as with the patients.
Yes. And the latest research is showing that for teams, especially in healthcare, that they not it doesn't matter the nurse's age, from those who have had many years of experience to new nurses, they are looking at knowing the organization is supporting them. So
Mm,
throwing more money at them, although that can be great, it's a band-aid. It's a quick fix. It's not what's going to keep me here. It doesn't tell me that you really value me and you value my opinion, which is part of empowerment. So it's really looking at how do we do these team building strategies to share with your group to let them know you are valued, you do have a voice and this empowerment that can take your whole department to a new level. When you
mhm.
have that and you value that and they know that, you're absolutely going to rise.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the nurse manager, the HR department, when because that they're driven by numbers.
Yes.
What's the turnover? How much is it costing? Da da da
Yes.
da. When you can improve those numbers because you've delivered integrative supportive therapies
Right.
to the
Right.
team,
Yes.
um, wow,
Yes.
right?
And
That makes
and
a
it's
huge difference.
it's important to speak their language. For an example, I had one team I worked with, and the nurse manager was really, her concern was turnover. She had a 40% turnover. So, yeah, right. That really hurts. And so she was looking at I mean, she wanted, of course, the low turnover, but she was smart enough to say, to her nursing staff, what do you want? And they wanted professional development and growth. They wanted activities that were going to help them professionally in their development and growth. So we brought in the principle, the strategies, And it definitely was something to help their professional growth. And again, reminded them this is what they asked for. This is something that is going
Mhm.
to help them. And many of them did say after we've delivered, I sleep better. I don't get upset in my clinical setting. I know I have tools now that can help me, ease that
Yeah.
anxiety, or when I get upset about something, tone it down. So they were learning that. In another unit, their main concern was burnout. That was the word they used. We have a lot of young nurses, and they're juggling job and family, and maybe school. Many of them going back to
Mhm.
school, so they're juggling
Mhm.
all of these things, and they are feeling burned out. We still use the same program, but now we're looking at how is it helping in your feelings of burnout and having you feel more empowered and stronger in yourself and in what you are providing for others.
Huge. Yeah. Big, big difference. And when I think, and you've shared this with me, like when you first got into nursing and healthcare, there's a fire inside of you. You're on fire instead of burned out,
Yeah,
right? Right. You're
it's a good way to
on.
put it, right? You're on fire versus being extinguished.
So it takes a special uh, person to get into healthcare to
Mhm.
want to be of service in that way. And I think it's sad that the system, this broken healthcare system,
Mhm.
doesn't, until recently, with people such as yourself, right, showing and bringing ways to help keep their fire burning and their
Yeah,
passion and their desire to make a difference. That's the empowered nurse advocate
yeah,
movement.
yes, absolutely. And that I know as far as what gives me that joy is when I see that actually happening in practice, not just for maybe what I'm doing, but when I see another person sharing those tools, sharing those gifts, and being so genuine about it. It just is so exciting to see. And they feel happy doing it. You can see the joy in them doing that. And that's just so special.
Yeah, I love it. So for those of you watching this that are at a healthcare organization, you want to bring Deb in for yourself, for your team, for your whole organization, and all her contact information will be in the show notes. So just go ahead and grab that. She's got an amazing gift for everybody to support you 5 minutes or less in
Yes.
calming your chaos. She's got this beautiful program, Calm Your Chaos in 5 minutes or less. And so let's spend a couple minutes before we wrap up and move on to the lightning round, which are going to
All
get there.
right.
Don't you worry, everybody, we're going there. Share about your three pillars for these integrative supportive therapies and maybe an example or two.
Yes,
Okay.
I'd be happy to. So the three pillars are the our relaxation techniques, things like breath work, guided imagery, and it might be visualization. So there's different tools within that pillar. And then there's the pillar of aromatherapy, and not only how you might use it safely for yourself, but how you can use it safely with others, and also things you can do within an organizational setting. And then there's the pillar of gentle movement. And it's probably one of the pillars, it's one of my most favorite, but it's probably one that we kind of tend to ignore. But even though the research is out there, how important it is to keep active, even when you are in a busy setting, doing things for yourself to stretch, to breathe, that can really help you overall. So I like to do like we can do a blend of all three right now. So if you have
Okay.
an aroma, and if you don't, you know, you can
Pretend.
intention a favorite aroma you would like. But if you have, for those of you who may, just putting it on a tissue, putting a drop of your favorite aroma on a tissue is wonderful. And then just having it in your space right by you.
I
And
need to get it,
even
keep it by my desk.
yes, absolutely. Keeping it by your desk, or if you are active in your setting, you can put it in a pocket, things like that. So it's always with you. but it's not overwhelming to anyone else. So
Yes.
just taking a moment, whether you have it close to you or just near you, and settling into your chair or your space, maybe closing your eyes or softening and breathing in through your nose to a count of 3 or 4, and breathe out through your mouth to that same count. Now, as you breathe, let your lips be slightly parted when you breathe in through your nose to your count, and when you breathe out through your mouth to the same count. When you part your lips, your jaw and your neck relax, and your entire body will. Now breathe in an intention, joy, peace, balance, whatever feels right for you. And let that aroma bring that intention with each breath you take. Just visualize how that intention, that aroma brings that message to every cell in your body. And when you breathe out, that intention fills that space around you. And just know that if you feel yourself in stress or in a time of chaos, come back, either breathe in the aroma or just come back and do a couple of the breaths with the pattern. And you'll find your mind will remember and your body will respond to coming back to this place of balance. Now coming back again to the focus of your breath with your eyes soft or closed, take a big breath in. Let your arms extend out above your head as you exhale. Ah. Yeah. And then maybe take them back behind you and you open up your chest, and this opens up your lungs and the space. Many times if we're at the computer, we start to do this. So
Yeah,
it really
that feels good.
stretches. This is a really good one. And then take your arms and give yourself a hug. But now squeeze your shoulders together, and it's opening up the spaces between your shoulder blades
Oh,
too.
that's good.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And now tuck your chin, and
Well,
you're
that's even gooder.
wrenching the back of your neck.
It's
And
even
then you
gooder.
can release. Take a breath and let your shoulders relax. Give a little. And if you, I mean, because sometimes people will say, well, I don't know if I can do that in the setting. Like, yes, you can. You can always do a little wiggle, and people will just, I'm just kind of getting the knots out. Doing that at least every hour really does help, not just your physical body. You're releasing those endorphins, which gives you that energy and gets you more awake and focused. And
Mhm.
it really putting it all together. This took less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I feel energized. I feel
good.
lighter, clearer, and energized from that.
Yeah. Well, great.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Put
Thank
down
you.
in the comments, go ahead
Yes.
and put down, how do you feel? Did that lift you up and shift your energy, shift your state?
Yeah.
And
Love
yeah,
to
and
know.
and here's what I know: in the midst of chaos, and I'm going to go a little bit of brain function, and you reference it somewhat too.
Yes.
In the midst of chaos, we are in our limbic brain. We are
Yes.
in fight or flight. We're in survival mode, which is a great tool for us to have. And we also know the opposite feeling when we're in flow and we're in ease and we're in grace. And that's the creative center, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is typically a better place to to find solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So that quick activity will move you from your limbic brain state to your higher brain state. your
Yes,
prefrontal cortex as well,
that's very good.
which is
Yeah, good.
awesome.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so put in the comments below, how did that make you feel? Did it lift you? Did it elevate you? And then share it with somebody, because that's how we'll all make a difference. That's how you get to be the one for someone else, the way Deb was
exactly.
the one for us in our healthcare industry today.
And I will say too, for me doing that, it helps me as well. Although I'm sharing with another, it certainly helps lift me, and I feel so much more energized yet relaxed.
Yeah, right. It's a good combo, beautiful
Yeah.
combo. And I know in some of the conversations we've had in the past, the way that you ended up creating your movement of the empowered nurse advocate is your coworkers noticed a change in you.
Yes.
So talk
Yes.
about that a little bit.
Right. Well, I do say I mentioned that, I was doing these modalities for myself, really to bring myself back into balance after being so disconnected. And but I was very quiet about it. I was in the closet. Because it wasn't widely accepted during, 20 years ago. But people started to notice, okay, in the midst of all this drama that might be happening around us or stress and the stress environment, you are very calm and you're very cool-headed. What are you doing? And and even one of my coworkers said one time in our break room, like what's going on? What's happening with you? And I was like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, this is what's going, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing some energy work. I'm doing, I'm involved I've gotten to know a little bit about aromatherapy, and I've always done some type of movement, exercise, dance kind of thing. I always liked doing something. And I said, I'm just kind of finding a good pattern for me that is helping my well-being. Well, this was a person of influence, and she was like, well, we need to know more about this. And I
Oh,
want to know more about this. And
awesome.
and she had no problem speaking about, getting out of that closet, so to speak, and just saying, this is something we need to know more about. And you mentioned COVID. And I think many healthcare people felt after COVID, people would be in a better place, a better state, frame of mind. I mean, COVID definitely put a huge stress on healthcare organizations, healthcare workers. But I will say it didn't. After COVID, we are seeing the same, if not worse.
It didn't change.
And
It didn't, that
it,
wake up call didn't actually wake anybody up.
it did not it maybe gave greater awareness to the public that, of the challenges people healthcare workers go through, but it did not help the system or the healthcare nurses in general.
Hmm.
And so I found that, especially after COVID, my voice becoming more stronger about this is something we need to do. I need to do to help nurses, to advocate for nurses, so that we're all going to need healthcare sometime. And you want somebody really good and in that space of wanting to be there and being present to
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's, it all cycles together.
Yeah. It's beautiful. You are extraordinary, my friend. Thank you for sticking with your passion and your fire for healthcare, finding a way through the burnout so that you came back on fire to help others do so. You're
Yes.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good. All right, my friends, be sure to grab your copy of Being the One, How to Lead Boldly and Live Your Vision, and read Deb's chapter on restoring the heart of healthcare. Pass this on if you're in the healthcare industry. Bring it to your team. If you're not, pass it. We all know somebody in healthcare, whether it's a
Mhm.
doctor's office, a hospital, a radiologist, whatever it is. This is vital
Mhm.
for the repair and restoration of the system, the people we rely upon to take care of us. Let's make sure
Right.
we're taking care of them too.
Right. Right. Very good
So
message. Thank
good.
you.
All right, lightning round time. This is where you get to know our guest in a little bit of a different way. So I've got 3 questions. We're going to
Okay.
come right in. Give us your quickest, fastest answer to
All
this.
right.
So let's start with, what is one food or dish that you could eat every single day?
Yogurt.
Yogurt. Okay. Good for you too, right? The
Yeah,
probiotics.
especially the Greek organic yogurt. Yes.
I love it. I love it. All right. So what's one food that you just can't stand? Please don't ever make me eat that.
It's not that I really can't stand it. I choose not to really, is mushrooms.
Mm, the fungus. There's no fungus for you.
No fungus among us there. Yeah.
I love it. And this next one is, who's the one person that's had the biggest impact in your life?
Uh, you know, uh, I would say my mother. She
Mm.
always believed in me, always believed in what I was doing, even when people might have been saying, "Why are you doing that? You're a little, that seems a little crazy." She always gave me that support, and sometimes she would always sing my kudos, which sometimes was a little embarrassing, but she, but she
Great.
always had faith in me, which really helped me to have faith in myself.
So beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Deb, for sharing. I'll make
Thank
sure when I
you.
see you next, I got plenty of yogurt on hand and no mushrooms on your
Thank
pizza
you.
or
Yeah.
anywhere else. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing the work that you do and being the
Thank you.
one.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. All right, my friends, get out there, continue to be the one for yourself, for your vision and purpose, and for that very next person that you see right after watching this. We'll be back again with another episode of Be the One TV. And until then, make it an amazing day and enjoy being the one. Bye for now. Bye, Deb.